Good morning, good looking people, and you're good looking because you're always looking, and of course, you are finding the good in everything and in everybody. Hope you're well, hope you had a great weekend. Today is the 2nd of Nissan, and there is a ton in today's Hayom Yom. It's more informative, but there's a lot of information. First of all, it's the 2nd of Nissan. Today is marking the yahrzeit, the Yom Hilula of the Rebbe Rashab. He passed away in 1920. He passed away on a Motzei Shabbos on the 2nd of Nisan, and it says that he's buried in Rostov. That's where he lays to rest. A little information in the notes is that in 1940, as Stalin was taking over and the government was very hostile to the Jewish community, it says that they were trying to build a housing project in the old cemetery, and that's where the Rebbe Rashab was actually buried. It says in 1940, 10 of his closest Hasidim, they exhumed the body. The body was completely intact, just wrapped in a tallis. And they took the body and they buried it in a different cemetery in Rostov, and that's where he is now. So the body was actually moved in 1940. And this story is collaborated by the famed Reb Moshe Dovber Rifkin, the Rosh Hashiva of Torah Vodaas in New York in 1953, as well as many other Hasidim that know of what took place. Also, 2nd of Nisan, today marks the day that the Rebbe Rayatz, the Frierdiker Rebbe, the previous Rebbe, took over his Nesias, his leadership and the responsibilities as the Rebbe. Also, we've talked about yesterday that we started saying the Nasi. Today is the 2nd day, which is the tribe and the information related to Yisachar. So how does that connect to today? So it says Yisachar represented Torah, learning Torah. The Rebbe Rashab started a yeshiva, and he was adamant about the Bachrim learning both Nigla and Chasidus. So if you actually look at the word Yisachar, Yisachar is spelled with two sins in the middle. However, the way we pronounce it is Yisachar, not Yisaschar. So there's one loud sin and there's one quiet sin. And it ties in because the loud sin refers to Nigla, the learning of Gemara and Mishnayos and Chumash, etc. And the silent sin refers to Chassidus and mystical and Zohar and stuff behind. So when you look at the word Yisachar, it refers to both Nigla and Chassidus, which is also connecting to the day, to the tribe of Yisachar and the Rebbe Rashab. We're going to read a little bit inside, and then I'll give you a little bit more notes on the day. So for the Hayom Yom, for the 2nd of Nisan, it says, today is the Hilula, the yahrzeit of my revered father, the Rebbe Rashab. He passed away on Saturday night, the 2nd of Nisan in 1920 in Rostov, and there he was brought to rest. Second part says his first public mimer after the passing of his father, the Rebbe Marash, was delivered on the 2nd day of Chol Hamoed Sukkos in 1882. It begins with the words Keseh Yinu L'cha, that they will give you a crown. Just a quick note right there. It says that the Rebbe Rashab got sick on the 22nd of Adar, and then he passed away on the 2nd of Nisan. So it wasn't much time from the time that he wasn't well. Moving to the last part of the Hayom Yom, it says the last mimer he delivered publicly while he was in this world was at the festive meal of Purim, which was in 1920. So what we just talked about, he got sick right after Purim. It begins with the words Reishus Goyim Amalek Kates Sam Lachoshech, which translate Amalek is the first of nations, and God has set to an end of darkness. So the question will be, and of course we're mentioning the Maimarim that the Rebbe Rashab gave, but the question is, how does Amalek connect to today? So also in the notes it talks about, and Rabbi Seligson talks about this, is that for the first 12 days of Nisan, each day corresponds or correlates to 1 month of the year. So we had the 1st of Nisan yesterday. That was Aleph Nisan. Aleph Nisan correlates to the first month of Nisan. Then you have today, which is Beis Nisan, that actually correlates to Iyar. And what's interesting in the Iyar is on the 23rd day of Iyar is the War of Amalek. And that's when that big war happened with Amalek. And you actually look at the Hayom Yom for the 23rd of Amalek, the Rebbe talks about coldness, that the first thing that happens of Amalek is cold. We get cold in our learning. We get stale in everything that we're doing. We're losing the hype and the energy and the passion. So being that the 23rd of Iyar is corresponding to Amalek, being that the 2nd of Nissan is correlating to the month of Iyar, therefore that's the connection to Amalek, which is being brought up today. So there's a lot of information today. There's a lot to take out from today. First of all, as far as information, but what's most important is what we learned from the Rebbe Rashab. The Rebbe Rashab was all about learning both Nigla and Chassidus, not to focus just on one. That he brought that back to the yeshiva. And that's the inspiration as well to Yisachar, that you have the silent sin, you have the loud sin, that we have to work on our learning and make sure that we have fire, we have chayas in it. That the first thing that happens with Amalek is cold, and we don't want to ever be in that category. Have a wonderful day, have a great and successful week and a healthy week, and we will talk more tomorrow.